Welcome back, everybody, to Woodward Heavyweights live on woodwardsports.com. Make sure you smash that like button.
Smeesh.
For Easy, for Nick, for Caleb, for Chris, I'm Spencer. We're the Heavyweights. Welcome back to the show. Before we went to break, saw this on the prep, and I thought it was a little crazy. Thinking it's a little too early to start talking like this, but on the prep, this has got to ask, is the Cardinals game a must-win for the Detroit Lions? Week 3, the infantile stages of the NFL season. Is this game a must-win for the Detroit Lions? Easy, we'll start with you.
I guess to get your true opinion on this, you got to ask yourself, what state would you be in if this team go down 1-2? Are we freaking out? Are we still kind of calm? Are we a little nervous at that point? And I guess there's context to it too. How does that happen? Is there injury or random stuff happening? No freak off, but
freak off, man.
Oh man, I don't want to say it's a must win. I'm a little bit biased though, because you got to win this one. I think the Cardinals are better. I've said this all offseason, by the way, too. Caleb, I know you're on the bandwagon as well. The Cardinals would be like a team to reckon with. I don't think they're just any pushover team. I think they're this year team. Specifically, they're going to be tough. They're going to be son of a bitches, man. They really are. I do. I think if you're going to look at yourself as a Super Bowl contender, I think you got to win this game. I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable going down 1-2, and I can't say that going into the following week, the same comfortable ability of making those Super Bowl statements I did preseason.
QQWW in the Woodward Sports chat expresses my sentiments exactly.
Nice name.
Every week is a must-win. You are trying to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. You're trying to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You are trying to have the easiest path to a Super Bowl this season. So every week is a must-win. Now, am I going to jump off the bandwagon if they start 1-2? No, I still believe this team, even if they started 1-2, is going to go and do the things I expect them to do this year, that be winning a Super Bowl. But you can't make a habit losing games. You can't make a habit of losing back-to-back games. And you can't make a habit of losing games to NFC opponents, because these are things that factor into tiebreakers when it comes to playoff seeding. Every week is a must-win for the Detroit Lions. We are in a new era of Lions football. We are breathing new air. We are, like I said, all offseason, sitting at the big boy table. Sitting at the big boy table comes with big boy responsibilities, and that's taking care of business. That's beating teams that you are better than. Are the Cardinals a good team? Yes. Are they better than they were last year? Yes. Are they a better team than the Detroit Lions? Fuck no. The Lions are a better team. You go into the desert, you take their lunch money. I fully believe they're going to win this game. Dan Campbell doesn't lose back-to-back games after the first half of his first season. But I'm not going to freak out and lose my mind if the Detroit Lions don't win this game. But every week is a must-win for you. You need to have the best seed you can. You're going for a Super Bowl. You want to play in Ford Field as much as possible in the playoffs. And to do that, you need to be the number 1 overall seed in the conference. So, yes, this is a must-win. Every week is a must-win when you're trying to be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Exactly. You nailed it. It's the expectation of what this team is. Are you talking playoffs and seasons over after 1-2? No. But are you talking the season could be altered and there could be a lot of changes? Yes. Because that's the thing you're talking about. You are talking about the Super Bowl and you are talking about the number 1 seed. You're not talking about the playoffs, because the playoffs is a basement expectation for this team this year. And you're not concerned with the Green Bay Packers, who, yes, they pulled out a win with Malik Willis, but obviously have their question marks at quarterback. The Vikings, we all have talked about their flawed roster, their 2-0 start. We don't necessarily believe in it. So there's not a lot to make you concerned for the Lions playoffs. So if that's your expectation, is getting to the playoffs, then no, this is not a must-win game. But if you are talking about championship caliber season, you are talking the road goes through Detroit like Dan Campbell has preached for the last 2 seasons now, then yes, this is a must-win. This is a must-win game, absolutely.
Fellas, when I was walking out of Ford Field after the loss of the Bucs, I obviously just reacted like I would as any fan. I was pissed off, and I said that this was a number 1 seed defining loss. That was before I saw everything that broke down on Sunday. the NFC is still wide open for the taking for that number 1 seed. And for that reason, I'm going to say this is a must-win. Because if you fall to 1 and 2, you're already putting yourself behind the sticks. It's like a holding on first down. You're not going to convert it often. You get these opportunities when you have guys on your contracts right now that you have. And I think this team is set up to go out there and make a special run. But if you're going 1 and 2, you're already behind the 8 ball to do it. And I think one thing that a lot of fans don't want to talk about right now, but Jared Goff hasn't played too hot. But a realistic thing after the Rams went to the Super Bowl and he got paid, the Rams went 9-7 that season to miss the Super Bowl. I'm not saying this is the same team. I'm not saying anything about that. But when you have high expectations, you got to pull through. I believe Jared Goff will pull through this season, but I got to, in my eyes, I want to start 2-1 going forward instead of 1 and 2 going uphill.
Caleb?
Yeah, I also think it's a must-win because you are going for the 1 seed. And this game means a lot because you're facing some adversity now. The loss last week was a lot different than the loss week 2 against Seattle last year. Because last week's loss was ugly. And, you know, people are saying things about Goff. People are saying things about Campbell, Ben Johnson. I think it's a must-win for that, too, just to win your fans back.
Silence the doubters.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you're going on the road against a pretty good Cardinals team. And I honestly would put this on the calendar or on the schedule as a big win if we end up winning. Because that's on the road. This is not a bad Arizona team.
Yeah.
And it's in conference. They could be in the hunt for the playoffs as well.
Yes.
But, yeah, like Nick said, the NFC's wide open right now. And so, yeah, it's a must-win. You gotta win as many in-conference games as you can for the rest of the year so we can get that 1 seed, so we can get the home field advantage come January.
Yeah, and like Nick said, you need to take advantage of the NFC stifling. You can't be a part in that. You can't play a role in the NFC struggling out of the gate. You have to take advantage of that and rack these wins while you can and try to get further and further up to the top. Also, selfishly, just do it so I don't have to hear these fucking Vikings fans anymore. Like, I don't want to hear these bastards. Oh, we're the number 1 team in the North, eh? Like, I don't give a shit about the Vikings. Lions just go out there, take care of business. This is a game I fully, like, if they play their game, if the Lions play their best ball, nobody in the NFL can beat them. So I'm not worried about that. I just need to see them go out there, take care of business in the desert. And like I said, not a must-win in the fact of, oh, if you don't win this game, it's over. You know, let's start talking about hockey. No, if you don't win this game, it makes your fan base even more nervous, growing sentiments in the locker room a little bit more nervous. But when you're trying to get the number 1 seed in the NFC, you need to win every single week. You can't afford hiccups. You can't afford back-to-back losses. So it is a must-win in that fact.
Playoffstatus.com came out with these odds, and they're just percentages, not like betting odds. And the Lions, since losing that game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, dropped to a 36%. Now, obviously, we laugh at that. We scoff at that.
Hi, Mike.
That's what this is in the NFC. As you said, we got to capitalize now, especially against these opponents. It's that net value when you're going up against a team in your division or a team just in your conference. You're putting yourself that one up. We're looking at the Tigers racing to make a playoff seed right now, too. The Twins are the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
You know, that's that one little – it makes a difference when you win in your conference and your division. And, yeah, I think – I know people say, oh, you're overreacting. No, dude, you need to win. It's Minnie said, every week's a must-win.
It's the NFL. You got to win as many games as you can. Nobody's giving them to you either. Pause. No Diddy.
Yeah.
You got to go out there and you got to take it. No freak off.
Did you guys see what happened on Monday Night Football this week?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Falcons roll into Philly.
Yeah.
Take over the game. Win at the end somehow. Some miracle. Lions should have won that game last week. Anything can happen. Guess who we have next Monday night? The 2-0 Seattle Seahawks right now, who have beaten us, 3 years in a row?
3 years in a row.
3 years in a row. Shit happens. Weird things happen. Like, you cannot go into next week, Monday Night Football, 1-2, with a must-win against the Seahawks at that point to get back to 500. You need to take care of business in Arizona and beat Kyler Murray. Like, no excuses about
These
it.
damn birds coming around here.
Damn birds. Lions attack birds.
They do. Lions eat birds.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
At least cats do.
You seen it?
I've seen it. I've seen the lion eat a bird.
I seen it.
I've seen it. Didn't Scar tried to eat what's the
Toucan.
The Toucan's
Toucan.
name, whatever his name is.
Zafu or
Zazu.
Zazu.
Yeah.
There we go.
Scar tried to eat him. Lions eat birds all the time.
Let's go.
Scar is, he's not a cool lion, but
Yeah.
he's a prince, so it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
I guess it sounds like an overreaction, but just like
No, we got new standards, man. This
We do.
isn't
Yeah.
this isn't 2 years ago. This isn't last year. It's we're gonna make the playoffs. That's cool. No, we are one of the best teams in the NFL. Go out there and act like one of the best teams in the NFL. And you know what best teams in the NFL don't do? Lose multiple games in a row.
Yeah.
So go out there, go to the desert, kick these dirty birds' asses, and win the game. Come back 2-1, ready for Seattle.
And to that point again, you're not just settling for getting into the playoffs in a wild card spot. You think about last year, one of the worst jobs ever after Philly had 10 wins was just immediately choke. They let Dallas win that division. Then the Eagles proceeded to go on the road and get their ass handed to them by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You do not want to go on the road in week 1 of the playoffs as an away team. You just don't want to do it. We've seen the den be defended by these Detroit Lions. And, we defended well for the most part. Last week, the boys didn't show up, but you know who did show up last week? The fans, and they always will.
DNC ENT in the Woodward Sports Chat says, y'all tripping, bro. And no, we're not. We're not tripping because that's what it is now. You're fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC. You can't lose games at all. Not at all. 1 loss is not acceptable. 2 losses in a row is terrible. You can't have that happen. This isn't the okay, we're fine making the playoffs. As long as we squeak in, we're good. No, you want the best record in the conference so you can have home field advantage in the playoffs. That's more important.
you got to stockpile the wins too in case like an accident happens.
Yeah.
Like it's the
gotta take 'em when
Packers
you
are
can.
fortunate enough to steal one once they had Malik Willis, but since 1990, 34 out of 235 teams that have started 1-3 made the postseason. Only one of those teams went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and when you're competing with teams like I'm not worried about stuff like that. Like that is, those stats and the 0-2 teams and stuff like. I'm not worried about that. Like I said, if they lose this week, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon and say no, it's done. But it's harder to get the number 1 seed. That's for sure. If you lose again, when you are in the
Everything's
breath
harder, bro.
of saying
You're up against it.
you're competing with teams like the 49ers and the Eagles. When those teams lose, when they start the season off slow, you need to take advantage of that and win as much as possible. Yes, it's all going to come around, and most of it will settle and find its mean as the season goes on. But it's better to have the lead than to be chasing from behind. You need to get out to a better lead.
Too. A lot of things are rolling good. Like we had the 400+ yards offense last week, and you unfortunately lost because of the turnovers and the mishap before halftime. You don't want to second guess a lot of things you're doing correctly, readjust them to something that's just not working at all, and you just find yourself completely behind the 8 ball. Caleb, I know you want one more thing with the break.
One second, real quick. ECL in the Woodward Sports Chat. That's how I know you're just not listening and just spewing nonsense. Because you comment, OMG, the Lions lost the game. It's all over. You must be undefeated to win the Super Bowl. Quick, someone tell the Chiefs. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Did you hear us say that? That it's over if they lose? We all just said we still think they're going to make the playoffs and do what they got to do even if they lose. But if you want the number 1 seed, you should win this game. If you're okay with losing this game, that's on you. I'm not. I want the number 1 seed. The Lions aren't built the same as the Chiefs. It's a lot easier for the Chiefs to go on the road in the playoffs to win a game. I'd rather not go to Philadelphia in January. Do you want to do that?
Fuck no.
I'd rather not go to Green Bay in January. Do you want to do that? I don't. I'd rather be playing in the warm confines of Ford Field where it's 64 and sunny every day. Caleb?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say. Like, I'd like to hear the argument that it's not a must-win game because, yeah, if let's say we do lose this week, it's not over. The season's not over. Things are going to turn around. We're still going to make the playoffs. But statistically, like, things are going to get weird at the end of the year. We're going to look back in week 16 when we're the 3 seed and we're saying, lost to the fucking Cardinals in week 3, and that's what's screwing us not getting the 1st seed. Like, that's why it's a must-win. Like Spenny's preaching right now. Every week is so important to being able to play in Ford Field in the playoffs. Yeah. Every single game is a must-win from here on out. We don't have to go 16-1, but you can't be dropping games you can't be dropping a game like this in week 3. You can't be dropping a game against Arizona. Even though I think they're a good team, it's a must-win game.
Like I said, it's not a must-win in terms of they're not going to make the playoffs if they don't win this game. But it's a must-win in terms of you need to get the leg up on other NFC contenders if you want that number 1 seed. Every week is a must-win if you want to be the number 1 seed in the NFL.